Namaste, guys. ChristianRLong, Life Enhancement Consultant, giving you a big and beautiful shout out on this Friday evening here, 45 minutes south of the Canadian border. And I want to jump on real quick and tell you what's been going on the past 6 months, closing this time period off, and then what's the next chapter. And I want to appreciate all the people that have been connecting to the streams over the past couple years, couple months, and wondering, where did Christian go? Well, I'm always around. What's up, Sam? Namaste. I'm always around in one way, shape, or form, either through the membership site, either through one-on-one healings, through reaching out to me directly on my cell phone. Not so much Instagram, not so much Twitter. Usually Facebook and LinkedIn is kind of where I hang my hat. But I want to jump on real quick and share some interesting insights. This is my very last day here in Kalispell, Montana. And I've been here for 6 months. I actually dug it up. Call me sentimental, call me nostalgic, but I dug up my plane ticket from Denver to Kalispell or Glacier International Airport. And I got here November 9th of 2020. And why was I leaving Denver? Well, I had been in Denver for about 8 years, had some beautiful experiences, grew my pranic healing practice there, fell in love, had some very interesting experiences, some good, some not so good, but at the end of the day, they're all evolutionary in their nature. Marcella, namaste. And so about every 4 to 5 months in Denver, I noticed the traffic was getting worse. I noticed the crime was getting worse. I noticed the drug abuse was getting worse. And I said, something's not working right now. And where I lived in Denver, Colorado, they were building a high rise in my neighborhood. So there was noise sun up to sundown, which isn't very conducive for an energy healer's practice, a healing practice and meditation practice. And there was extra traffic, extra congestion. And then my neighbors were getting stirred up, and one of them smoked heavily, and so the smoke would be going into my healing space slash slap. I wonder if that was a Freudian slip. My healing space slash living space. And then my next door neighbor, when he wasn't being loud during the day with all the construction that was going on around us, there was a tremendous amount of noise in the evenings. And then for some strange reason at 5 o'clock in the morning, every single morning, I don't know about you, but waking up to heavy, hardcore rap music vibrating the walls at 5 o'clock in the morning is a little strange and a little disconcerting. So this went on for about a year. And I said, okay, I can renew my lease, or I can fulfill my lease agreement and then move somewhere else. So where am I going to move? And I was like, all right, can go anywhere in the country. My business is remote. What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? And something pricked my mind to go to Montana, or at least check it out. So I bought a ticket, rented a car, and then drove 1,362 miles around Montana, visiting 10 of the major cities within the state. It's a huge state with not a lot of people. There's about a little over 1 million people in a state that is the 4th largest state land-wise in the entire country. But I said, you know what? I think I can dig this. I think this is my jam. I love this. I'm all about it. People, friendliest people that I've seen in any state, don't take offense if I've been to your state, but I've been all over the country. Friendliest people I've met in any state. A lot of fresh air, fresh energy. And I was like, wow, so much sunshine. It's so beautiful. Well, that was in September of 2020. Took me about 2 months to find a place and to get into a place. I bought my plane ticket. And then, ta-da, I arrived here. Now, interesting thing about northern Montana versus southern Montana is that not the seasons, but the tourist is flipped. So where I am now, right now we're entering the busy season, and where I was going to stay in southern Montana, Bozeman, Montana, the LA of Montana, is now entering its slow time. So when I was looking, I couldn't find anything in Bozeman. So I was like, all right, well, I'll spend a year out here in Kalispell, Montana. Perfect. 45 minutes south of the Canadian border. It's beautiful. It's right near Glacier International Park or National Forest or National Park or whatever you want to call it. State Park. I think it's national. It's beautiful, but I only got to see some of it because it's closed most of the year. It's starting to open up in the next month. So I came out here because it's quiet. No loud neighbors, no construction, fresh air. Everything's amazing, right? And then month after month of living here, I started to change. I was in isolation, no friends coming by, no events because of COVID, no socializing. My landlord lives right behind me with his wife, but I don't socialize really much with him. Great guy though, super, super cool guy. So I'm like, all right, well, what's happening? What's happening? And I went out for a long walk one day, and I was looking on my phone, and I go, wait a second. And I looked up real quick, and I said, aha, one of the factors, maybe the biggest factor as to why this isn't working out. Because I planned on living in Montana, not just visiting it for a short period of time. Well, I found out that where I am gets 151 days of sunshine. 151 days of sunshine. So I was like, I moved from Denver, Colorado, 300 days of sunshine. Now I'm here in Kalispell, Montana, 151 days of sunshine. That could be contributing to my lethargy, my slowness, but this isn't working out. But I said, okay, well, my lease is up in the beginning of May. Let me make the most of it. So my 6 months of being here, these are some of the transformations, I may not, but I'm going to say, that have taken place. Number one, I got a tremendous amount of stillness that I was desperately in need of coming out here. If you saw where I am, the mountains are literally, I'd have to have a pretty strong arm to throw a baseball or a snowball to hit it, but the mountains are right here, right? Super, super close. Almost every person in this area has about 5+ acres of land. They have their guns, they have their horses, and no one bothers each other. In fact, I had an Uber driver coming over to take me to the airport, which is 3 miles down the road, and he ended up going to the other person's yard. It was a couple from California that moved here maybe 2 years ago. And the guy comes out with a handgun strapped across his chest. And he goes up to the Uber driver and he goes, "Can I help you?" Very standoffish and confrontational, because that's kind of the personality to strangers, if you will, within this area. But on the street, people are waving, super friendly. You go to a coffee shop, super friendly. You go to a Whole Foods, you go to a Target, you go to Walmart. Everyone's super, super friendly. Again, the friendliest people that I've met anywhere in the country. So I'm like, all right, this is cool. But so I got the stillness that I was looking for. I got the quietness that I was looking for. I got the fresh air. There's a creek right here that I get to look at the stupid ducks every single day. The geese, the ducks, they're all worked up. It's actually kind of funny. I haven't named any of them because I can't see if it's the same one, but I kind of like talk to them through the window. So in this 6 months, I was like, okay, I'm going to create a project. I'm going to finish a project that I was going to finish when I was living in Denver, but there's too much noise. But for some reason, I couldn't finish my project. The will wasn't there. What was going on? And I noticed month after month after month, depression was setting in, heaviness was setting in, exhaustion was setting in. I couldn't figure out what was going on. Then I made the connection about the weather. I was like, okay, that's a factor. And then I also noticed something very interesting. Every single day that I ate, I fell asleep. Like, I would have something in the afternoon, eggs and, like a good lunch. Eggs, cheese, some toast, whatever, right? Not a lot of calories, but good, healthy. And I couldn't keep my eyes open 30 minutes after eating. So I was like, this is ridiculous. So I was like, okay, we figured out that maybe we're not getting enough sun. Okay, what supplements can I purchase? Okay, I started buying supplements. I started looking at my diet. And then I said, okay, A year ago, one of the master pranic healers said, hey, have you ever thought of trying keto? I've been doing vegan keto. I've lost over 20 pounds and it's working out really well for me. You should look into it. My listening at the time was like, not interested. And it has nothing to do with sugar. It has nothing to do with carbohydrates. But I said, I'm not feeling well. Why am I not feeling well? My physical body feels drained, depleted, sick all the time. What's going on? So then I changed my diet, supplements, complete keto. I was doing intermittent fasting on top of that. So 20 minutes of no food, but taking electrolytes for 20 hours, and then eating within a 4-hour window. And then all of a sudden, week after week, my digestion started to improve. I lost my sugar belly, which I'd had for 13 years, this little pudge of gushiness that could just, no matter how much I worked out, no matter how much I exercised, cardio or strength training, no matter how I modified my diet at that time, nothing was changing because I wasn't doing it right. So I was like, maybe there's something to be said about this keto. So all right, we figured out the light aspect. All right, there's not enough sun, so I can't live here permanently. I get that. Okay, we can only do so much about it. We'll start taking vitamin D3. Okay, we're doing what we can. Change the diet, intermittent fasting. I started exercising and doing more yoga, stretching and opening up my body. But for some reason, my sleep wasn't improving at all. And I was like, okay, I've been having sleep issues my entire life, but never like this, which doesn't make sense because it's dead quiet. This is the most quiet place I've ever lived in my entire life. You don't hear anything for days. Nothing. No sounds of any kind. No cars, no horses, no one talking. You might hear every couple months people shooting guns in the distance, but that's about it. The only thing that I actually hear is the refrigerator engine, or what is it, right? The engine in the refrigerator. Is that what it's called? Engine? Gears? Not my area of expertise, right? That's the only thing that you hear. Super quiet otherwise. And then something happened. A mentor of mine, who's been my mentor for many years, who's been a helper, a guide, a healer for me for a long, long time, reached out to me at a key moment in my life and said, you don't look well. And I was like, all right, so I'm not crazy then, because I don't feel well, and the feedback I'm getting is I don't look well. What's going on? And after some understanding, having a conversation, after doing some energy healing work, the next couple of days, I went from operating at a 2 or a 3 to operating at an 8 or 9. And I was like, this is amazing. My body's sleeping. My body's rested. My body's charged up. Wow. And it was changing my experience dramatically. And this only happened maybe 6 weeks ago. So I came here to Kalispell, Montana to have rest, recuperation, and to finish a project that was very important to me. But instead, poor meditation experiences, no sleep, feeling exhausted all the time, and not able to have the necessary get up and go to finish this project. But now the past 6 weeks, so many things have changed from the culmination of better supplementation, intermittent fasting, ketogenic diet, and being strict with it, right? Losing the sugar belly. Then that led me to what? Getting better sleep, which led me to what? Doing more yoga, increasing my flexibility, opening my body up, allowing energy and prana to flow through my system. So if you would have said to me at the beginning of coming here, hey, for the first 5 months of your 6-month stay, it's going to be miserable, you want to sign up for it. And you're not only going to have physical issues, but you're going to have emotional and psychological issues. Are you willing to deal with those things? I'd probably be like, maybe not. Maybe not. Even though I've dedicated my life to transformation, we all have our limits or our perceived limiting beliefs. So I was like, I don't know. I don't think I could go through it. But now that I'm on the other side of that experience for the past little over a month, I feel transformed. I feel changed. I feel super, super grateful and honored for where I was 6 months ago to where I am now. Also, during this 6-month period, I was in a lot of heartache with a relationship that through the process of heartache, I did my very best to take the lead or coal within the experiences of the relationship and to transform and transmute it, to turn it into gold, to become a better person, right? A better person for myself and a better person for that person and future persons, right? And I'm supremely grateful for it. Supremely grateful for it. Because whenever I've had heartache or heartbreak in my life, I always sit down at my computer, that's the laundry, I always sit down at my computer and I put the person's name at the top, and then I go line by line by line by line by line of what did I learn? What did I learn about that person? How is that person a mirror for me? What was the experiences and the feedback, and how can I become better, right? How can I become better? And the famous book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, he talks about within every adversity, there is a seed of equivalent or greater benefit. So with every challenge that we have in our lives, we may go, God, what a waste of time. What a wasted experience. This was so painful. This was so agonizing. This was so heart-wrenching or heartbreaking, right? And if we just stay at that level of truth, we're never able to take it and transmute it and transform it and to become better because of it, right? So then we hold on to that pain, that trauma, that suffering, and we become a victim in that situation or in all situations for the rest of our lives, right? So if we can shift ourselves through the pain and use it as one of the master pranic healers would say, we can use the block, the stone, as either a stepping stone to greater growth, greater awareness, greater development, or we can use it as a stumbling block and fall on our face and stay down that way. We have that choice, and it's dependent upon how high we raise our foot, right? So if you're just going, oh, I'm suffering right now, I don't have the will to transform, I'm suffering right now, I'll just do it tomorrow, I'll just do it the next week, I'll do it the next month, then we never use that painful experience as an opportunity to propel us to greater heights, to greater awareness, greater understanding, greater transformation. So this heartache that I'd been experiencing on and off for several months, I chose to use it to transform myself, to become a better person, to evolve, to learn many, many lessons, and to put away toys that were no longer serving me. I remember I was having a very deep conversation with one of the master pranic healers many, 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 many years ago, like probably at this point, probably 10 years ago. And he asked me a question. He says, when you were a child, did somebody have to tell you to stop playing with your toys? And I said, no, I don't know. No one had to tell me to stop playing with my toys. He says, what happened? I said, I just naturally put my toys away in the closet, and then I went on to doing, I guess, bigger adult things, and I forgot about those toys, and I never went back to them. In fact, I think I went back in and donated them, right? And he goes, exactly. Because you were ready to put those toys away in your life. So he says, just like children have to put away their toys, as adults, we also have toys that we play with, things that keep us distracted, things that take us off of our spiritual path, things that take us off of our purpose in life or our dharma, right? So we have to spend time putting those things to the side. Now, somebody can tell you 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, you need to put away your toys. But you're only going to put away your toys when you're ready. You're only going to put away your toys when you're ready. Why was I ready to put away many of these toys? Because I could see the suffering it was causing me, and I could see the suffering it was causing the people in my life. And so it wasn't an easy process, and it wasn't a fast process, but I did the very best that I could of putting away as many toys as quickly as possible because I am ready to grow up. Now, does that mean I'm irresponsible? Not at all. Does that mean I don't take care of my commitments, my promises, my obligations in life? Not at all. But there are still things that were attached to me that were not, that were thoughts, that were tendencies, that were behaviors that were not serving me. So I had to put those off to the side in order for me to move my life forward. And so that was also connected to the time being here in Kalispell, Montana. I've been able to do a lot of healing of trauma from my childhood. Stuff that I have been aware of, right? I have been aware, thanks Samantha, but there are levels of awareness, right? The quote that I built my entire healing practice around, which is a quote by my teacher, Grandmaster Choa Kuk-Sui, that says, without awareness, there is no inner transformation. So yes, I had awareness of childhood traumas, childhood pains, childhood chaos, feeling of being unsafe, feeling of being abandoned, feeling of being neglected, feeling of being less than, right? But just because you have surface level awareness of the event that happened doesn't mean you've forgiven, doesn't mean you've let go, doesn't mean you've learned the lesson, doesn't mean you're grateful for moving forward. It just means I have awareness of a pain, I have awareness of a trauma, and it's kind of fuzzy. So I took great advantage of being here, isolated for 6 months, for 4 of those 6 months intensely doing inner work on childhood traumas. And not just childhood traumas with family members, but all the childhood traumas that I was aware of that were on me, my outer periphery, that were still influencing me. Things that I witnessed that weren't connected to me and weren't connected to my family, but traumas that I saw, pains that I experienced, that developed certain programs within me, developed certain tendencies within me that made it difficult for me to have loving, healthy, fulfilling relationships, for example. So that was another beautiful nugget or pearl of wisdom that came from the 6 months of isolation, the 6 months of quote unquote suffering. Also, there was something that was posted to me by one of the Master Pranic Healers of saying, hey, you should start a membership site. You create a lot of content, right? You create a lot of content, which ironically enough, for 3 years, at least, what are we doing? 3, 4, 5 years on Facebook, I'd regularly been producing live streams and content for my YouTube channel, for Facebook live streams, to add value to people, to share Grandmaster Choa Kuk-Sui's teachings, energy healing, meditation, practical spirituality, all for the purpose of helping people transform, right? And I was doing that consistently and persistently, diligently, relentlessly, and I loved it, and I still do. But before moving out here, something shifted in my awareness, and I said, maybe I should back off a little bit. Maybe I should withdraw. Maybe I should be doing so much like this. And then shortly after the new year, it was proposed, why don't you start a membership site? So we did. So we created a membership site where people can sign up for a nominal fee every single month. They get healing, they get education, they get their questions answered about spirituality, energy healing, meditation, how to use energy to transform your life. And so far it's been successful, right? It's been successful. So I'm grateful for that. Another benefit of being here in 6 months of isolation. And then I was able to get into full lotus, which was super important to me. I've had my glimpses, my moments here and there over the 21 years of being a yogi, being a spiritual practitioner, being a regular meditator. But I was always like, I would always see the people sitting in lotus, and I was like, I want to do that, I want to do that, I want to do that. And I always thought it was in the knees. And then I learned maybe a year ago, year and a half ago, it's not in the knees, it's in the hips. It's in the hips. The secret is in the hips, right? So if your hips are tight, it's very difficult to get into lotus and even more difficult to stay in the lotus. So then you end up jarring your knee and it hurts and it's painful and not interested. So I just thought to myself, okay, well, I know how to open up my hips and all I have is time here. So let me work on it. Let me get good at doing that. So I started working on my hips, strengthening my hips, opening my hips, stretching my hips. And then I was able to get into lotus, and almost at one time able to get into lotus without using my hands, which I was like, I didn't even think that was possible for me. So little by little, the physical body was changing. The emotional body was changing. The mental body was having to figure out new things, coming up with solutions to new problems. And one of the biggest factors in pranic healing and our Hatha yoga at the higher levels of our Hatha yoga is taking care of your physical body. So this past year, I was initiated into the next level of our Hatha yoga, and it's recommended at this level to watch your diet, and take care of your physical body, like exercising, right? So I would keep doing my spiritual practice, but not pay too much attention to my diet, not pay too much attention to my physical activity, especially because of what? COVID. Because I was regularly working at the gym closed down, now I'm out in the middle of nowhere, not really many gyms around, and everything was closed down. So yes, there's opportunity to walk around outside and enjoy the scenery, but it's not getting that deep, hardcore strength training exercise that I was used to. So my body was becoming weaker, but I was continuing to do my higher practices, which puts a strain or pressure on your body. So, which is going to give first? Of being a spiritual practitioner for 21 years and being a little bit stubborn in my practice always comes first. So my physical body started to suffer. I kept practicing intensely, and my physical body suffered even more. But through the grace of God, through the blessings and compassion and mercy of the great ones, little nuggets were dropped. Hey, change your diet. Hey, add these supplements. Hey, do intermittent fasting. Hey, start stretching more. Hey, we're going to bring your mentor back into your life to clean some things up and to heal you. And for that, I'm extremely grateful. So the 6 months of being in isolation from friends, family members, any kind of physical contact has been very, very good. I probably wouldn't sign up for it again, but I'm very, very grateful for it. So what's the next chapter? Where do we go from here? Isn't that a song from the early 90s? Celine Dion? Where do we go from here? Am I wrong? Anyone? I'm going to be going on a road trip for the next month. I'm going to be traveling to 12 plus cities. I'm going to be going over 3,600 miles, mostly throughout the Pacific Northwest, and then kind of doing a circle from where I am in Kalispell, Montana, traveling west, doing a big loop, and then going back to Denver. And then I'm going to be somewhere else for 2 months after Denver. We'll leave that as a secret for now, right? One chapter, closing one chapter at a time and starting a new chapter at a time. And then we'll close that chapter and then start a new chapter. Because how good is it to read a book going all over the place and then reading another book and another book? You ever be reading 3 books at one time and you're like, God, what was I studying? Is this nonfiction, fiction? Wait a minute, is this the example from this book or this the example from another book? What? Right? So we'll close off one and open up another. So I'm super looking forward to that. And over the next 30 days, starting tomorrow, I'm going to be cataloging, vlogging, whatever you want to call it, my little adventure. So every day I'm going to log on at some time of the day, some place. I'm either going to be doing it on the road, I'm going to be doing it at a campsite, I'm going to be doing it on a nice hike in a new city. Who knows? It could be a 5-minute stream. It could be a 2-hour stream. I'm leaving it open. I'm leaving it flexible. And it's a way of cataloging it for myself to remember this time in my life, a way of cataloging it for my son so he can follow my journeys and adventures as well, because I know he follows me on social media, even though he says he keeps it quiet, doesn't want to really let me know, no likes, no comments, but he'll ask a question that would tell me, he's been following some of his dad's stuff. But I've dedicated my life to transformation. I'm dedicated to becoming a better person and a better soul for myself, for the people that I serve. And that's it. So I realized that a quote that my teacher, it's funny, I thought of this quote earlier today talking with somebody, and now I'm thinking of the quote even again in this moment about your soul grows and develops not by accumulating. It grows and develops through service, through giving. Right? So when we go into the world and we share experiences and we have experiences, your soul is growing. But if the sole purpose of your existence is to get enough money to buy a car, enough money to buy a house, enough money to impress your neighbors, enough money to, right? And you're living the same day after day after day after day. You're not learning new things. You're not experiencing new things. You're not becoming aware of new things. You're not challenging yourself with new things. Your soul is not growing. It's not evolving. Right? So does that mean it's bad to be rich? Absolutely not. I'm in the process of becoming rich. I highly recommend it to everybody. Right? But being rich is not the only thing. Being rich is a byproduct of adding value into the world, expanding yourself, right? But if your sole purpose in life is to make money, I don't recommend that, right? I was thinking about, there are people that have had a big wake-up call with COVID because they realize, wow, I could lose my job at any time. I don't have much stability. I don't have much in savings. And I'm shackled to where I am, right? If you have a job where you have to go into a physical location, you're shackled to that physical location versus having passive income, versus having remote income, where you don't have to show up to a physical place. And that's one of the benefits that I've realized that has been quite the blessing of being able to come and go as I please, because it took me many, many years to get to the point of having this level of flexibility in my schedule and the abundance coming in to take care of travels and visiting places and having experiences and meeting up with people. And I'm supremely grateful for that. So COVID has given people a great opportunity to examine their values. What's important to me? What's not important to me? Is having the newest, latest, greatest this important to me? Or is it spending time with my friends and family members? Is it harmonizing relationships? I remember I was having a conversation with my mom maybe a little over a month ago. And my mom and I talk maybe once every 2 weeks on the phone for 30 minutes or something like that. But something told me, I did a healing on myself. I did a short meditation. And then something told me now's a good time to talk to mom. So I called my mom. She picked up on the second ring. And it went from I'm just going to give you a quick phone call, say hi, what's up, nothing big, 15 minutes. And it ended up turning into like a 3-hour conversation. Now, you might find this hard to relate to, but this is the world that I live in. This is my life experience, that I grew up in a household that was not close. So never in my 40 years on this planet have I ever had a 2.5-hour conversation with my mother. But in that 2.5 hours, there's a tremendous amount of healing, awareness, understanding, patience, compassion that was demonstrated between the two of us. Because things that had never been said were said, and things that were needed to be discussed again and gone deeper into happened. And I'm supremely grateful for that. Ironically enough, in isolation, in the middle of nowhere, I'm having these deep emotional healing with somebody very close to me, the person who brought me into this planet, right? And in that moment, I realized that's important to me. Family is important to me. Having, Beth, I'm going to say, having love and intimacy is important to me. And Beth, you'll have to watch the replay. And I just think to myself, we spend so much time chasing the external. Because part of my work as an energy healer and a meditation teacher is to be aware of the subtle things in life. Through the training I've gotten, through Grandmaster Choa Kok Sui's pranic healing and Hatha yoga, and then through many, many years of spiritual practices and doing thousands of healings with people, is I'm trained to be aware of subtle things. It's kind of hard to shut it off sometimes. And I look at people on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and I look at people's expressions, and it's like, it's very interesting because you can see a smile, right? But if you just be a little bit more still and a little bit more aware, and you tap into the energy of that person, you sense a lot of sadness, grief, bitterness, frustration, rage. But physically you see a big smile. Because it seems to be more important to have the image of having your life together than actually having your life together. And it's the importance of what others think of me versus what do I think of myself. Because at the end of the day, what you think of yourself is paramount. Period. Right? Your friends can think of you a certain way. Your family can think of you a certain way. Your employer or employees can think of you a certain way. But at the end of the day, you have to think of yourself as a good person, as a kind person, as a compassionate person. Not from pride and not from self-delusion, but from a sense of good self-esteem, good self-worth, right? Not perfect, but I'm working towards perfection. And it was a beautiful experience to have that conversation with my mom, because I said things that were not easy to say. I said things that needed to be said, but I wasn't coming from a place of aggression. I wasn't coming from a place of making her wrong. I wasn't coming from a place of, you need to do something about this. I simply came from a point of, this has been my life experience, and I want to share with you some things that I think you missed about my life experience. And if you're open, great. If you're not open, that's okay. No blame, no guilt, no shame. And it was such a beautiful opportunity to have that moment of connection and sweetness and tenderness with my mom that I have never, ever experienced in my entire life. And when we were done talking, her head was spinning. I was going to say a little bit, but it was spinning quite a bit because of some of the things that I shared with her. And funny enough, some of those things were brought up, but never discussed in detail. It's kind of like, sweep it under the rug, never happened. Put it in the closet, never happened, right? But every family has its challenges. Every family has its difficulties. And I'm grateful for the work that I do, that I get to help other people sweep under their carpets and open up their closets and throw out the garbage, the things that no longer serve them, so they can move their lives forward. So, that being said, if I can be of service to you, healing-wise, meditation-wise, learning-wise, go to ChristianRLong.com. It's my website. Super easy. And then join me on this little adventure for the next 30 days. So we'll be posting every day for the month of May. Yes, I designed that to rhyme. We'll be posting every day for the month of May. And if you guys are in the cities that I'm traveling through, and I'll repost my itinerary, let me know. Send me a DM, Instagram, Facebook, and let me know. Go, hey, are you in my area yet? You in my town yet? You want to get together for coffee? You want to do some Twin Hearts? You want to do some healing? Let me know. I'm game. I'm open and receptive to this new chapter over the next month. So love you guys very much. Have a beautiful, phenomenal Friday afternoon, evening, Saturday morning, whenever you're watching this. If you got value out of this, please share it on your Facebook page, because guess what? Like energy attracts like energy. So if you got value out of it, most likely the people on your social network are going to get value out of it. Make sense? And I'm super, super grateful for these 6 months. More grateful than I realized then, and even now. Like, the gratitude is continuing to build. I came here with several expectations and almost none of them were met. But at the end of the 6 months of being here, I got so much more than I was expecting. Different than what I was expecting, but if I had to choose between having those things fulfilled and having these expectations fulfilled, I take these expectations. So very, very grateful. Thank you guys very much for your time. I look forward to serving you in the very near future. This is Christian Long, Life Enhancement Consultant, wishing you a beautiful day, a beautiful week, and a beautiful life. Atma, namaste. Bye-bye.